Welcome back, guys. I called it a night after getting the mirrors mounted on the truck yesterday. So today is day 2 and it's time to sort out some wiring. So I've decided to start on the passenger side simply because all that's going to this door is the 3 signal wires to control the mirror. All the power, switch, everything's on the other side. Once I get the wires fished through the boot, I can get the door panel all buttoned up and be done with this side. The good news is that I don't have to remove the kick panel in order to gain access to the wiring boot connecting the body to the door. Bad news is, unfortunately, whoever designed this truck, it leaves a little bit to be desired. Simply put, there is an access hole just in behind the dash here, and you've got roughly about 1.5 inches maybe of space in between this upper hole and then the hole going out of the cab into the door. So it has to make a very severe right angle bend in order to get into that door boot. So if you have the opportunity to do this while the doors are removed, it'll make the whole job a lot easier. Because obviously I'm not going to be taking off these doors, I have to find a bit of a workaround. What I'm planning on doing is taking the stainless steel wire, taping it onto the speaker wire. As I pull the speaker wire back into the cab, it's going to pull the fish wire through, in which point I can take the new wires, tape them onto the fish, pull it all the way back through, and everything should be run through with no big issues. Now, what I'd recommend to you guys is use stainless steel wire. I've used carbon steel in the past, and unfortunately it's got a pretty nasty tendency of snapping if it gets bent too many times. So stainless steel, quite a bit more durable. Fortunately, a little bit more expensive, but well worth the cost. All right, well, let's get that wire fished through. With all luck, everything will go nice and smoothly. Button this door panel up, and we can move over to the driver's side. I've got the wire taped to the end of the speaker wire, and I'm going to start slowly pulling on the wire and feeding the tape in, and it should feed all the way through, and that'll allow me to feed the wires back through the other direction. Oh, son of a... Well, that sucked. What I was hoping would not happen, happened, and the speaker wire that I was pulling through with the fishing tape attached to it broke. So, what I ended up having to do was do it the hard way. I had to disconnect the wire boot here from the cab, fish the wire in through the cab, and then back through the door, and I'm just going to fish it fresh. For those of you guys fishing your own wires, be aware that the cab access from the outside is here, and the hole to get into the cab is like up here. So not a whole lot of room, and again, as I mentioned earlier, it does kind of make like a 90-degree turn straight up and then a 90-degree turn into the cab. So be prepared to scrape the living heck out of your fingers and hands. It just kind of comes with the territory. But the good news is that wire is through. What I would recommend to you guys, we're going to get a close-up. The way I was taught to fish wires through is once you get the wire through, make yourself a nice little loop. Get your wires that you want to pull through, loop them around that loop in the wire, run a couple of rounds of electrical tape around the whole shooting match, and what that does is that kind of creates the right shape to punch through any grommets that might be in the cab, which is actually how that speaker wire snapped. Okay, so with some electrical tape around the whole thing, you can see it should glide through nice and easy through that grommet, and we should be able to finish this up and get that door panel reattached. Just like that. And now it's just a matter of getting some connections so that way if ever I need to service the mirror and take it off the door, I don't have to cut any wires. I can just disconnect them, similar to a factory harness.
Now that the wiring's done, the door needs to go back together.
Over on the driver's side, the wires that you saw me fish through the passenger side door have been run underneath the dash, through the wiring boot, and into the door. I've got the pigtail from the C10 Power Mirror setup that I've spliced in the power and the ground to the same leads that I ran new for the rear power window. So that's supplying that. And I've got the outputs to each side coming down connected with spade connectors. Helpful tip for you, because in this case all the wiring is the same color for both the passenger and driver's side, what I've done so that they don't get mixed up in future is on the passenger side I've got the male connectors on the mirror, and the driver's side I've got the female connectors on the mirror side. So once these are all disconnected, they physically cannot go in the wrong spot, so you're always guaranteed that the driver's side will stay connected to the driver's side mirror, and vice versa for the passenger side. Connecting these together was a fairly simple process. I was able to find a wiring diagram for some C10 Power Mirrors. What I've done here is written in the colors that they connect to on the appropriate side for the mirror. I'll keep this for reference sake in my factory service manual in case I need it later. Now that this is all done, it's going to be a matter of hanging the door skin and eyeing up where that switch is going to go, mounting it in, and buttoning it all up for the last time. I think I've come up with the best spot for the switch location on the door panel. It's going to be sitting right about there. I've also got a cardboard template of the cutout that I'm going to need behind the switch. So what I'm going to be doing, drilling the holes, put the template over top, trace the cutout. I'm going to be using my Dremel with some cutoff wheels. I'm going to be leaving the stainless on the door skin and cutting it all in one go. I'm just going to make the one cut go through both layers at the same time. Okay, so last step, let's get this drilled, mounted, and back on the truck. Now it's just a matter of getting the door back together. This is how much work it actually takes. So here we've got finished product on the door. I think that looks pretty good. All right, pretty natural position, don't have to reach too far. Got all my motions. Passenger side. Loving it. That's it for now, guys. Power mirrors are finished, but there are big things on the way for Black Betty. If you like this video, click the like button. If you want to receive instant updates on when I post a new video, hit the subscribe button. And again, guys, thanks for watching.